everyone, this is AJ and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another review of the latest episode of Marvel's What If. So without further ado, let's get into this. Now before I begin, if you're returning to this series or returning to the channel, welcome back. If you're new, then welcome to the channel. If you are new, please consider subscribing, hit that notification bell. Leave me a message if you so wish. I do answer all messages. Yeah, so let's talk about this latest episode of Marvel's What If. This is episode 5, What If Zombies. Now, I think as a comic fan, this is the episode that everyone has been waiting for. Yes. Little quick talk about why. Okay, in 2005, Marvel released a 5-issue miniseries called Marvel Zombies. What I'm showing you here is the graphic novel of that first hardback graphic novel of that first 2005 run. This is a spin-off from a story that was done in the Ultimate Fantastic Four comic a little while before. Yeah, so basically this episode of What If is based around this. There were subsequent sequels to this series, but yeah, so anyway, this series here was actually written by Robert Kirkman, whose name you may recognise. He was actually the creator and writer of The Walking Dead, the comic book, which obviously spanned into the TV series. So, yeah, he's got a dab hand at zombie stuff. Very, very good. Now, usually during these reviews, if you've seen my others, you notice that every now and then, I will pop up pictures of past issues of the What If comic, just for posterity, something interesting to look at. This episode I'm not going to do that. I'm going to throw up a few covers for the Marvel Zombies comic instead, considering that this is what inspired this episode. I will say that there is a difference between this episode and the comics. In the comics, the heroes, when they're turned into their zombie form, they do retain their memories and who they are, but they're overwhelmed by this hunger to eat that they cannot control, and thusly comes the story of the Marvel Zombies. Interestingly, if you like the Army of Darkness and Evil Dead, Marvel did also publish, in a crossover with Dynamite Comics, a Marvel Zombies and Army of Darkness crossover. There's Ash with his chainsaw from that. So yeah, just a quick little introduction into the Marvel Zombies there. Wonderful comic series. That first read anyway, and the one with Ash, Marvel Zombies, Army of Darkness, worth a read, worth a pick up if you're interested in that sort of thing. Anyway, so let's get on with this review. Okay, so this is episode 5 of Marvel's What If. What If Zombies. That's simply what it's called. And wow, I'm blown away by this episode, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to convey how great it was in this review. I should have probably watched it a second time before reviewing, but there you go. Okay, so the episode opens during the events of Infinity War, where the Hulk has been sent back to Earth. At the beginning of Infinity War, he comes back to Earth, he crashes down into Doctor Strange's sanctum, only to find that the world has changed. He isn't greeted by Doctor Strange or anything like that. He steps out into the world seems deserted. The Thanos' minions come down like they do at the beginning of Infinity War, and are subsequently killed by, I say killed, they're converted by Tony Stark, yeah, and a couple of other Avengers. I won't spoil too much for you. This episode needs to be watched, so I don't want to go too much in detail. So he gets saved by Hope, the Wasp, and we come to find out that how this began was the events of Ant-Man and the Wasp, where Kurt Russell, Hank Pym, travelled into the quantum realm to find Hope's mother, only when there she's actually got a quantum virus which has turned her zombie. She attacks Hank, turns him, comes back, they come back, and this is how the outbreak begins. So we're introduced to a world where the zombies have pretty much taken over, and there's like a small resistance of heroes still out there. Obviously Hulk, Wasp. You're introduced to Spider-Man, Happy Hogan. There's a wealth of characters in this film. Let me run through the characters that are in it. So you got Mark Ruffalo returning as the Hulk, voicing the Hulk. Chadwick Boseman voices Black Panther. Paul Bettany voices Vision. Sebastian Stan is in it as Winter Soldier. Evangeline Lilly as the Wasp. Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, Ant-Man. Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan. Danny Gurira, you know, Walking Dead fame. Emily Van Camp as Carter. Yes, so there's a wealth of people. Interestingly, Tom Holland didn't voice Spider-Man, but you wouldn't know that. At least his name isn't at the beginning. It does sound like him, it's really good. Yeah, so as the story progresses, we see, you know, he's... Mark Ruffalo's comes together with these group of heroes, and they come to learn that there's possibly a place where there's a cure for the virus. So they go and get a train, they hijack a train, well not hijack a train, they go and start a train up to get them to where they need to go. Characters get killed, characters sacrifice themselves. Like I said, I don't want to go into detail, I don't want to spoil the story for you. They get to where they go and they find Vision. Yeah, Vision's the one who's created a cure, and he's managed to cure Paul Rudd, Scott Lang. But Scott Lang is just a head in a jar, which is a bit of a callback to the comics, because in the comics you had, when you had Deadpool zombified, his head was taken from his body, but the head was still alive in zombie form, and you had a character called Headpool. Yeah, and this character popped up in the comics a lot. There was a little aside there was a Deadpool squad comic where loads of different versions of Deadpool came together: female Deadpool, dog Deadpool, normal Deadpool, and Headpool. Yeah, so it was like a little callback to that you had this head in a jar. So that was quite interesting and nice. So you find out that Vision is the one that's actually managed to create a cure for the virus, utilising the Mind Stone, this sort of thing. But you also come to find out that he's got Wanda sort of imprisoned, but he won't kill her. He's actually luring people in, and he feeds them to her to keep her alive through his love for her. He ultimately realises what he's done is wrong, and the heroes head off to Wakanda, which is meant to be the last remnants of humanity surviving there. As the episode ends, you do see that Wakanda is taken over, and you see that Thanos has turned up onto Earth and subsequently become zombified, and he's got the Infinity Stones, all of them, which don't really make too much sense considering. I have to rewatch this because it's just coming to my mind now. They've got one. They've got, alright, you might not have all the Infinity Stones, but he's there with some of the Infinity Stones. And the sort of episode sort of closes there. It looks like it's about to snap, to be honest, but Peter's still got the Mind Stone. So, I don't know. Anyway, I'd have to watch that bit again. That's bothering me now. I'll watch it straight after this. But no. Fabulous episode, fabulous story. It was, the animation again is on point. Probably my favourite episode thus far, being the callback to the comics, and I'm very familiar with the comics. Obviously, I've read them, so it was wonderful. It's great to see like your zombie Captain America, your zombie Hawkeye. Like I said, in this, it's not like in the comics where they have retained their emotions or their mind and overwhelmed by hunger. They are full zombie. Yeah, it's a brilliant episode, and like I've said before, if you're not watching this series, you need to watch this series. Start with just go in and watch this episode. If you've not seen any, go and watch this episode, and it might change your mind about the series. It is very good. This is probably the most consumable episode, given the love for zombies by people currently. I know it was in its height a few years ago, about a decade ago, and sort of waned off a bit. But nevertheless, go in, watch this episode. It's pretty violent, it's pretty dark. It plays like a horror film, like a zombie film. It's a wonderful time. I did expect the zombies to come later, but I'm happy that we've got them now. So anyway, that was my review for What If Episode 5, Zombies. Tell me your thoughts on this episode. Seriously, I loved it. I'm going to watch it again. I'll watch it again later. I always watch it a second time. That'll be later tonight, where I can consume it more and take it in. But fabulous episode. Seriously, big thumbs up from me. Go watch it. Anyway, this is AJ. Thank you for watching. And there will be, next Wednesday, I will be reviewing the next episode of Marvel's What If. And I've reviewed all subsequent episodes as well, the previous ones, the ones to come. I'll review the whole series, so please join me for that. Anyway, this is AJ. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care of yourself all. Goodbye.